Prepare for battle.
How's it going, everybody? Mike back at you with another edition of 5-Minute Gaming. Gonna do a little pinball this evening, and this is gonna be some light and fun pinball. This morning, my mind wandered back to the 80s, and I talked on a previous show with David Thiel about how I tended to not play a lot of pinball back then, although I do now, but back then, my money was gone too fast. I'd go into an arcade with maybe a buck or two quarters. That's worth 8 games. And a lot of times with pinball machines, I put a quarter in, but I didn't know the rules, and my game would usually end really fast, and it was frustrating, and so I would rather play Pac-Man or something like that where my game could last, 3 minutes. But there were a few pinball machines back then that I have memories of playing and very specific reasons. And one of those is a really obscure game, not talked aloud about in circles. I haven't seen it at our show very much, and that is Mars God of War. Now, I'll just give you a sec to take a look at this playfield. This is from the very, very early 80s. But what really drew me to this game was one specific thing. It had this plastic tube that went across the top lanes and a ramp that led up to it. You can see it up there at the top. And I really thought that was cool. I had this thing where I really liked marbles as a kid and playing and tracks. And I liked the idea of you could hit the pinball through this little tube. And it was a simple thing like that that made me play this game. And I have very specific memories of playing this a lot in the fun center that was in the Valley Mall in Yakima, Washington. I know right where this game was, and it was one of the few times I remember putting some quarters in a new pinball machine, and it was all because of that tube. So the designers out there, that tube was the one that drew me in and made me put my hard-earned quarter down to play this game. I did pull up the flyer for this game, and that's the front page of the flyer, and if we go to page 2, there's not much to it. Simple flyer just to sell this to operators. Overlooking his home planet, the God of War supervises battle on this fantastic new pinball playfield. Great features such as Hyperforce, selectable pop bumpers, and lanes. The Stargate Grand Last Chance Ball, and many others. Entertain and thrill all brave warriors who enter here. So gaze closely upon Mars. Once seen, he's never forgotten. I think that should have said gaze closely upon the plastic tube across the top lanes. Once seen, they're never forgotten, because that is my story. Shall we play some Mars God of War? I'm going to put a quarter in.
The forces of Mars challenge you.
And Gorf wasn't the only game that talked like that. Listen to that. It sounds like Gorf has invaded my pinball machine.
Prepare for battle.
It's Gorf, but it's Mars. All right. Let's launch the ball. And this game did not have any kind of music. It was just sound effects. And it also had no pity ball, which meant my game could be over really fast. And the interesting thing of the top lanes, usually you want to light them. In this case, you're trying to turn the lights off. So right away, I just wanted to hit that ramp. This game was made by Gottlieb, who made Black Hole, Haunted House, and all their games had very similar sounds like this, and they were wide-body playfield.
Prepare for battle.
Thank you, Gorf. I mean, Mars.
Prepare for battle. War base right. Defenses destroyed.
Quite the talking, isn't it? I could read it though. Defenses destroyed. Well, that's too bad. And now on ball 3. Can even trap the ball in the top flipper. Oh, that ramp's got to be down. Okay. I had forgotten about that.
Mars and cheats. I demand a rematch.
I demand a rematch.
Alright, we'll do one more. See what I can do.
Prepare for battle.
I had to do an edit because I've been playing a lot of games, and I talked at the beginning of the show about how much fun it was to get the ball up that ramp. After 7 or 8 games, I still have not gotten it up the ramp, so perhaps this is the one there. It's going to work for me. It's called the Stargate.
4 days left. Defense is destroyed.
There it is! Yay! I did it! I got it up the ramp.
Attack.
Now, I'm just gonna see what gravy I get after making the big shot I wanted to hit. At this point, the gravy would be as if Mars himself says something more interesting than what I've heard a lot, which is usually like attack, or defense is destroyed. I hear that a lot.
Prepare for battle.
And that too. This game's going pretty good. And that's ball 1. Good bonus. I hope, Norb, you enjoyed meeting Gorf in a pinball machine, which is probably a little shocking to you. And brutal straight down the middle shot like there. And I had a lot of those when I played Laser War with David Thiel. I'm going to put a link to Laser War right up there. Come over to that show and watch David and I talk about a game that he did music and sound design for, and then watch me play some very, very brutal games in an attempt to get the big jackpot.
Mars and cheats.